My 6GT build is done and I just finished breaking it in. In this video, I'm going to share my results. Gavin Gu here from UltimateReloader.com. I've always wanted a 6GT and here it is. The build is done and I just completed the break-in. So in our first video, we did an unboxing of the MDT ACC chassis, talked about the build components. In the second video, we covered all of the barrel work with sort of a focus on the finish work. The polishing and the laser engraving of the barrel, things turned out really, really well. In this video, we're going to talk about the Xerotech optic I mounted with Hawkins Precision rings, cover those, and then talk about the break-in process and the results. So let's do a brief recap of the build components. We've got the MDT ACC chassis in FDE. We've got the BAT TR action. This is kind of my go-to action for these precision rifle builds, short action. And then we've got a Krieger 28-inch finished 5R 6mm barrel blank that I started out with. And as you can tell, it turned out really nice. In terms of tools, I've got the Precision Matthews TL1660 lathe. This is now my go-to lathe. I'm using the TrueBore alignment system and the straight shot gunsmithing range rods to get things dialed in and going. And we've got a reamer from Alpha Munitions. That's the 6GT reamer with 170 thousandths of an inch freebore and a Dave Manson Go gauge, which I've configured both as a Go gauge in its standard form, and then with a piece of Scotch tape on the end, I've got a +2, which I used as my no-go gauge. Again, check out that video on the barrel work for more details about all of that. Okay, so Xerotech sent me this scope. They said, hey, if you haven't tried our new scopes, you should try one. So I'm like, okay. This is a 4.5 to 27 by 50 first focal plane. It's mil and it's 10th mil in terms of the clicks. It's got locking turrets, which I like, on both the elevation and windage. Really nice side focus. One of the things that stood out to me is these alloy caps that flip open and flip shut to protect the scope. A little bit more elegant than some of the plastic solutions that I've used. It's got a 30mm tube, and really it looked really good. I haven't had it out positional shooting or out in the field yet, but for all of the break-in activities, it looked really good. And importantly, it has a zero stop. I'm always looking for that in an optic that I'm going to use out in the field. Crank it back down to 0, and then you're ready to dial for your next shot. Hawkins Precision rings. Now these are really, really nice. These are precision CNC machined. These are available in low, medium, and high. These are the high rings here. We've got an integrated level in the cap on the back there. Really nice thing to not have to run an accessory level off the side or anything like that. Takes up a little bit less space. These are ultra lightweight, so they're actually very good for hunting as well. Black anodized finish on those. Okay, so that moment. I mean, when you build a rifle and you take those first shots, there's always some butterflies in your stomach. For me, of excitement. I'm not worried that the gun is going to blow up. Maybe I was the first time I built a rifle, but you know, when you've got everything down, you've checked everything, it's just excitement. It's excitement to see how, it's like a new car, driving it for the first time. What's going to happen? How am I going to like this thing? And this time I relaxed my barrel break-in procedure just a little bit. I was talking to Bruce Tom. I just published his handcrafted rifle story. You're going to want to check that out. I've got a complete end-to-end chambering video where I follow him through his process end-to-end. Really, really fascinating stuff. He said, why don't you just, you know, ease back on your break-in process a little bit. I used to do 1 shot clean, 1 shot clean, 1 shot clean, right? Well, this time I just started at 3 shots clean, 3 shots clean, 3 shots clean, and did that with 5 and then 10. And after the Krieger barrel, you could tell, hardly needed any break-in in terms of fouling. The patches were coming through remarkably clean for that first part of the process, and I was super happy with what I was seeing. Now I tried a couple different bullets, the Hornady 110 grain A-tips, which shot really well in my 6 Dasher, and then I did the Berger 109 hybrids as well. And I thought, while I'm breaking in, first I'm going to get some velocity data. I'm always kind of doing that, you know. I didn't have much to go on here. just some stuff from the MDT blog that was really helpful, and then Hodgdon Reloading Data Center, a couple of other anecdotal things that I had kind of read about. So I thought I would kind of start with those 2 bullets. And as you can see here, we had some good results. Now, some of this is going to change probably at about the 200 shot mark. So I'm not, putting too much credence into this specific data set, but it is information that's helpful as we look towards the full load development process, which will come in subsequent time frame for me. And if there's interest, I might publish some content about that as well. So some of the highlights here, we had the 110 ATIP with 38 grains of H4350 had an SD of 8.9 and a spread of 22. That was pretty good. The 110 ATIP with 38.5 had an SD of 6.8 and a spread of 15. Very, very impressive. The Burger 109 with 34.5 grains of Varget had an SD of 10.3 and an ES of 15 total spread. Now I did a little bit of accuracy testing with both. It looked like the Burger 109s were going to shoot just a little bit better. So I've summarized the results here for you to see during the break-in process. So as you can see here, we were pretty much in the 3s for MOA on most of the stuff here. One of the 3-shot groups went into 0.283 MOA. That was really good. One of the 5-shot groups went into 0.387 MOA. And I'm thinking with having fireformed the brass and with some detailed load development, and maybe even some more using of this EC tuner brake, we'll probably be able to reel that in a little bit. But if I have 5-shot groups in the 3s for a PRS rifle, even though this is high 3s here, that's plenty good. But of course, when I'm building a rifle, I'm always interested to see just how good it can get. It's just my nature. I always want to shoot as precisely as I can. Okay, so that is a brief summary of the break-in process. Here's one of the targets, 3 subsequent 3-shot groups. Good stuff. I can tell this rifle is definitely going to be a shooter. I've got to do a little bit more work to get things dialed in. So the very next step, load development. And if you have a favorite load for 6GT, please drop a comment and let me know what that is. I'd love to input your feedback into my process as I go into formal load development. Still waiting on dies. I had a universal seeder from the Cedar die from Short Action Customs that I used for this seating with brand new brass, and I'm going to look at possibly a couple different die configurations for the 6GT, including probably Short Action Customs and possibly Forster as well. I'm looking at that stuff. Reloading. Okay, so I'm using new brass for this break-in. Now let's take a look at reloading and see where we can get to with that. Sometimes that improves things a bit. Positional shooting. I mean, really, this rifle is for going out in the field and doing some sort of field shooting, whether it be hunting. I've definitely used rifles like this for hunting before. It could be PRS type scenarios, NRL hunter type scenarios, general long range ELR kind of fun stuff. Definitely a lot that we can do here. And then also I thought it would be really interesting to take a look at what is the recoil difference between the 6GT and the 6-Dasher. Why? It's not going to make a huge difference in the shoulder, but for a PRS type scenario, recoil is super important in terms of retaining sight picture, not getting off the target, seeing your trace, seeing your hit or your miss, that's that signature. And so the advantage of the 6GT, as I covered in the first video in this series, is it's better at feeding, right? And you'll get a little bit more velocity. The velocity wasn't the main goal. The main goal was to solve some of the nosediving and feeding issues with the 6-Dasher. But if you load both to their full potential, or if you load both to that node where they have the best accuracy, what really is the difference in recoil? I would love to see that, to see how they're going to compare in that domain. Okay, and then what are your other thoughts? What are your thoughts about this build? What are you running for a Dasher? What kind of chassis are you running? What kind of barrel are you running? And again, what kind of load are you running? I would love to get your feedback. Drop that comment and we'll start this discussion. I'm having so much fun with this. I played with a lot of different things here. We put the Banish 30 on there. I've got the EC tuner brake on there. Shot great with both. Really, really good stuff. So if you'd like to see something else, add that input as well. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, make your voice heard. If you have something to say, please drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications because you're not going to want to miss the awesome content that is coming up. And finally, flex your reloading pride. You could look great in one of these t-shirts. We've got multiple designs at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'll see you later because I'm off to go shooting.